Bonjour, hola, hello, hello, guys. Adventus here. And yes, I'm wearing a hat again. We're all just gonna have to deal with it. I'm not in the mood for my hair to be all over the place. Anyway, uh, I'm recording this on January 8th. It'll either be published January 8th or January 9th. Either way, this same week, about 2 or 3 days ago, on the 6th, there, everybody knows. If you see it on the news, you've seen it on YouTube, you've seen it everywhere unless you live under a rock. Trump supporters stormed the Capitol building on the center floor, basically ready for violence. That's what they incited for, and basically prepared for not a kidnapping, ransom, holding them captive, to hold them captive, and I don't know, threaten democracy unless Trump won. Now, obviously, Trump can't accept the fact that he lost. For the fact that there's a call. If you like, I'm too lazy. Like, I know I'm gonna be too lazy to do it, but if I find it, I'll put it in the description below. But I'm pretty sure you can just Google it or YouTube. Uh, Trump basically made a call to one of his Republican friends or one of his Republican mates or whatever, and basically threatened, begged, and basically everything in the book to uh, check again and make sure that there were 11,000 votes, 12,000 votes. However, plus one, plus one. It had to be plus one. Just one more than what Biden had on Trump. That's what he wanted. Not only is this pathetic, it's quite sad that a 70-year-old man can't accept losing 75 and he wants to call Biden old, but even though it's only a 2 year difference. But that doesn't matter. What matters, he can't accept the fact he lost. He gets his supporters to do all the dirty work for him. And then the fact that he's president, he just excuses the whole thing and makes sure that they just go home safe and in peace. It's honestly really stupid. Like, it is really stupid. Oh, okay, just did thing. I think I just did the camera. But anyway, so yeah, they stormed the Capitol building with military grade weaponry and zip ties, ready to hold. Basically, it was bad enough to where they had to evacuate. You should not have to evacuate the senators during like a session, especially one during this time. Freaking, he can't accept the loss. He's boohoo crying about it, and this is something you learn like when you're a child. Just accept loss. If a kindergartner can do it, for God's sakes, God's sakes, Trump, learn how to do it yourself. But the whole reason why I made this thing because I don't have any like I said, you can just Google on the news and they tell you so much. Like I legit just watched a live stream on YouTube when the whole thing was occurring. Like one of the first times I watched the news on YouTube. But yeah. Uh, so basically for our ELA class, we had extra credit. At least my class did. I don't know about the rest of them. But basically we have to write a page summary um about like give a report about it, what were your thoughts about how it make you feel, yada yada yada. The usual stuff that ELA teachers tell you to write about. And so I get in my feelings, and instead of a single page, which is about 4 or 5 paragraphs, maybe three, depending on how big you want to make the font. But no, I got in my feelings. This is size 12 font, and hold on, let me turn my brightness down so y'all can actually see it, or at least see it as good as you can. But like, I got in my feelings, and I wrote about 8 to 10 paragraphs. I want to say 8 to 9, but who knows? I got in my feelings so much like today because I was rushing and I wanted to get my credit. I need extra credit. I'm not bad. It's just who doesn't want extra credit? So anyway, on with what this thing I wrote. Uh yeah, I wrote a lot. So forgive me. Um and then right before I do, I just want to say that lately I just been having trouble reading, so don't mind me if I stutter. Don't mind me if you hear like a lisp because I'm developing a lisp. It's oh so fun. And there goes my computer making that noise. I'm not sure if y'all can hear it. But yeah, here we go. On January 6, 2021, protesters were reported outside the Capitol. The following statement forces you to imagine only a peaceful protest if you are without prior knowledge of the event. However, the protesters involved were a mob of Trump supporters with military-grade weaponry. The supporters made their way into the center of the floor of the Capitol building. The protests resulted in many injuries, including one woman, although later she was reported dead. It was repeatedly said that Trump encouraged these protesters via, twi- via Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It might seem ridiculous for such a fundamental role, such as a president, to use social media in such a vile manner, although social media is practically available to everyone, including those who are simple-minded, closed-minded, and overall negative people. The internet is made so that everyone has a group or a bubble to fit in. Unfortunately, when the simple-minded and closed-minded people are all together with no opposing views in their bubble, then only malicious chaos will be born. Trump used social media, mostly Twitter, to spread false claims of the election. This is only the lighter that caused the spark of mayhem. The spark was the event that started to destroy democracy in America. In all honesty, the attack was not just an attack by angered Trump supporters. These attackers might as well be considered terrorists. Some of them might as well be considered Nazis, from the pro-Holocaust attire such as the shirts that say 6MWE, which stands for 6 million wasn't enough. These protesters were terrorists that committed a domestic terrorist attack on the Capitol with military-grade weapons and zip ties. They broke many crimes. There were a lack of defense around inside, and even when police did arrive, they were practically useless. They made a mockery of police by willingly taking pictures with the terrorists and did not use clothes. Sorry, I made a mistake. I'll continue reading right now. I made a mistake reading. They made a mockery of police by willingly taking pictures with the terrorists. It did not use even close to the amount of force that they used for BLM movements. To put into perspective, BLM protests were peaceful from the beginning, in which some were escalated by corrupt police and other instigators. January 6th was comprised of a coup terrorist attack that was intended to be violent. The BLM protests were completely surrounded by police, whose first instinct was to use violence. January 6th barely consisted of any police, and the few who were there were honestly a joke. BLM protests resulted in at least 20 deaths, over 14,000 arrests. January 6th resulted in one death and little to no one arrested. Although both events were tragic in one way or another, January 6th was the most clear way of seeing white privilege, as well as racial inequality, rise immensely by Trump. If for some reason anyone had any doubt of white privilege in America, January 6th is a perfect example of it in its prime time. It was said that Trump was a sociopath. He was repeatedly seen as manipulative, aggressive, impulsive, and initiates in risk-taking behaviors. The reality states that in 2016 election, between two evils, the eligible voters elected the evil that is a borderline psychopath. He shows superficial charm to those who do not listen to reason, but rather stay in their minuscule fantasy. He repeatedly tries to use his intelligence to manipulate events to favor him. He is often seen having poor judgment for the fact that he only takes away rights from those who have not even close to becoming equal to those similar to him. Trump has not learned the important lesson of defeat with dignity, a trait that most children learn around high school age or younger. He felt no remorse for inciting the coup attack on the Capitol, but instead he indirectly praised them. Trump has an overdose of self-worth that even before the elections were called, announced that, in quote, if I do not win, then the election is rigged. During this 2016 election, I was not a Trump supporter. I was trusting in adults though. I had blind faith in adults. When it was announced that Trump won, I decided to trust Trump for the fact that I thought were reasonable adults elected him. These last 4 years have taught me two things. One, that adults have become more condescending of children, which resulted in them having so high of an ego that they make more half-witted decisions than the children they practically put down for their age do. Two, that even though I had blind faith in others, I would rather be blindly faithful than blindly hateful. The terrorists who stormed the Capitol building were covered by blind hatred. I want to see the good in everyone because in life and in law, you cannot justify your actions without reason. If you're filled with blind hatred, then you are more likely to participate in impulsivity, therefore not having a reason to justify your actions. In conclusion, January 6th did not happen in vain. Many people against Trump have another reason to be against him. Many Republicans, including the vice president and many Republican senators, retracted their statement of objecting their electoral vote for the 2020 election. And those who support Trump may have power and weaponry, although these kinds of supporters are dying out from numbers. Trump is losing his power and control at a rapid rate. He will soon see true defeat, whether we will have to use force or not. I'm finally starting to see humanity, starting to actually see use of common sense for other people apart from thinking about themselves. So basically, that is my whole spiel. That is my whole thing. As I was reading it, I saw a lot of typos in there. I need to fix that. Hopefully, my teacher didn't see that yet. But anyway, as I said in that thing, I'm not going to call them protesters anymore. I'm going to call them terrorists. I'm going to call them Nazis because that's what they are. That is definitely what they are. And freaking, I'm not even going to go into the Twitter post because I don't have Twitter. You want to know why I don't have Twitter? One, I don't want that much social media because it's bad. Because like looking at too much social media is bad for you and your mental health. And my mental health is, my mental health is like out. I'm trying to keep my mental health good, okay? And then two, idiotic people go to Twitter. Like, Instagram is fine for like younger people. What's it called? Facebook is for like older people, like my parents. But it's fine. There's still idiotic people on Twitter because they're adults and adults are idiots. I'm sorry, parents. I'm sorry, every adult that I met. But my God, some of y'all are so irrational, condescending. Like, you all make no sense whatsoever. And then you have Twitter, where the YouTubers and so idiotic people go. Like, I know for some cases, YouTubers and idiotic people go hand in hand. Jake Paul. And so, like, it's really annoying. And the people on there are annoying. Anybody who knows me in real life knows I hate Twitter. Like, I legit hate Twitter. And it's just so stupid. And hence why, who's really known for using Twitter for their, like, little manipulative purpose? Trump. What is Trump? An idiot. Who follows Trump? Idiots. Like, I get it if you're not a Biden fan. I get it if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Republican. But why you gotta support Trump? Like, I don't, unless you're a white supremacist, terrorist, Nazi. You're one of those three. Like, come on. Come on. Like, there's no other way. Like I said, a bunch of stupid people. Like, women who are against women's rights, black people who are against black rights, LGBTQ people who are against LGBTQ rights. Y'all need to pick a lane and pick the right one. Because there is no equal lane anymore. This is 2021, and this is where we get our together. We need to actually get this together because for people in my grade, next time when they start voting, it's our turn to make a change. The adults already screwed us over with climate change and climate change, bunch of LGBTQ inequalities, bunch of black inequalities, bunch of Islamophobic inequalities, bunch of immigrant, just overall immigrant equalities. Like we just the adults just fucked this over. If I'm just being completely honest, but they're adults. They think they're all high and mighty until somebody proves them wrong. Then they want to shut their mouth. I've had my experience with that. They think they're all high and mighty until someone younger than them proves them wrong, and then they get all defensive or they stop talking. We need to prove that the adults know absolutely nothing. Okay. And also, when I said that Republicans, like the vice president and the senators, they took back their statements because they see how crazy Trump is now when he can't accept the laws. Not even to mention his own wife. This what was it, something defense or whatever, like Senator Defense or some bullcrap like that. She resigned. A lot of people are resigning now because they see how crazy Trump is. Nobody wants to work with the crazy fascist. I'm going to pull up the definition of fascist so I know I'm using it right. It's a form of far right authoritarian ultranationalism, ultranationalism characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression, and opposition of strong regimentation of society and economy, which came to prominence in early 20th century Europe. Sounds about right. Uh, so we got a fascist. Pick a psychopathic fascist. Y'all heard in the thing how, what's it called? Y'all heard in my little spiel right there how one of the reporters on news said he was a sociopath because he found enjoyment in that. He's a psychopath. Those are the adults that elected, all of the sane adults that thought Trump was better than Hillary. For once, I would have taken. I would. Oh my god! If I was old enough, I would have taken the woman who wanted to start war with Russia, because then there were Republicans who would have been against the war with Russia, and she would still be in presidency. But no, nobody wants to go. You have a psychopathic Republican, and then you have Republicans to back him up. You can't have that. And then there was this. Oh my god, this ad. There was this ad about this woman. Like, I'm not hating on the woman. She's probably an actor or something. I don't, whatever. But there's this woman. She's like, oh, I'm a mother of three. I'm a Georgian. And it was like the Senate race thing. And so he's like, and I elected Joe Biden. And America needs balance. Well, I agree with you. America needs balance. But for God dang it, we ain't getting balance. I'm this close to speaking country right now. And I only speak country like when I'm like irrational. Not irrationally. When I'm rationally mad, then I start speaking country. Ooh, boy. But yeah, I was not kidding when I said that. Like, y'all can look it up. Some of these people, they were sitting in the chairs of state government officials, and they were breaking the windows, and they had gas bomb, like, was it like tear gas or gas bombs of some sort? And oh my god, they're just crazy. Yeah. And I was not kidding when I talk about calling them Nazis. They literally had, you could Google it. It's like six MWE, 6 million wasn't enough. Also known as the amount of people that were killed during the Holocaust. Yeah, yeah. Just, these people are such idiots. Anyway, the, this is a completely somewhat different turn. Although I have been doing some controversial topics lately because I want to try something different. Here we go now, talking about politics. Anyway, oh boy, time for the outro. Actually, before I do, I just looked at my what my outro was, because to be honest, I forgot what my own outro was, because I keep changing it, and then now talking about now, I realized I said, uh, "Brr, express yourself however the you want." Yeah, I think I learned a lesson. I should never said that. I should never said that because now this happened. I spoke evil to the world. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, universe. I'm sorry. So sorry. I'm really sorry, universe. So we're gonna start off with a new intro again. Let's go. Be Ventus. Be free to express yourself and make sure peace is the only reason, or peace is the only way for, frick. I just forgot what I was saying. Oh my god, my memory's so bad! Okay, I just thought of a new one. So, take two. Let's do this. Be Ventus. Strategic policy. Fuck! Ah, I messed that up so bad. I did not curse. I cut myself off. Okay, don't come after me. I I cut myself off. Take three. Be Ventus. Strategic policy is key to victory, and don't let the bigots get in the way. Bam! What? Start from living Maddie. From Maddie. Yeah, finally got it right. Anyway, be Ventus. Peaceful strategy is always key to victory, and don't let the bigots get in the way. Peace out.